I've been married to Kevin Keegan for 51 years, and right now, in November 2025, I am absolutely bloody furious with him. Yes, it's me, Zhong, the quiet one who stood beside him through every trophy, every tantrum, every comeback, and every collapse. The woman who packed his bags for Hamburg, who held him when he cried after the 1996 title slipped away, who smiled politely through 1,000 rubber chicken dinners while he held court. And now the whole country is talking about what he said in Bristol last week. And I am the one who has to live with the man who said it. He stood up in front of a room full of people and announced he doesn't like listening to lady footballers talking about the England men's team because it's not the same experience. Not the same experience. As if the decades I spent listening to him dissect every single match from the sofa, shouting at the telly, replaying videos until 3 in the morning, somehow don't count because I never played in the old First Division. I told him straight when he got home, Kevin, you're 74 years old. In 2025, do you want the last headline of your life to be that you're scared of Alex Scott's opinion? He went red, started mumbling about just being honest and in my day. In his day. That's what he always says when he's losing the argument. In his day I was pregnant with our first, while he was off winning the league with Liverpool. In his day was raising 2 more kids, while he was in Germany being treated like a god. In his day I kept the home fires burning every single time he decided the grass was greener somewhere else. People think they know our story. They see the highlights reel, the curly perm, the 2 Ballon d'Ors, the I would love it if we beat them rant, and they think that's Kevin, but I've lived the unedited version. We met when we were 16, in a dance hall in Doncaster. He had these big blue eyes, and this cheeky grin, and he asked me to dance even though he had to left feet off the pitch. I thought he was cocky. He was cocky, still is. 3 weeks later, he told me he was going to play for England one day. I laughed in his face. He didn't speak to me for a fortnight. That's Kevin. When he's hurt, he goes quiet. But when he's determined, nothing stops him. I watched him scrub toilets at Scunthorpe just to stay in the game. He'd come home stinking of bleach, knees scraped raw from the pitch, and he'd still be smiling because someone had told him he had something special. I was the one who washed the kit, who made the packed lunches for away games, who sat in freezing stands, watching him prove the doubters wrong. 5'8" in his socks and built like a jockey, but my God could he run. I knew before Bill Shankly ever clapped eyes on him that he was going to be a star. When Liverpool came in 1971, I thought we'd made it. £35,000 transfer fee. We felt like millionaires. I moved into a little house near Anfield and suddenly was Mrs. Kevin Keegan. The wives had their own hierarchy back then. You were judged on how many goals your husband scored at the weekend. I learned quickly to smile sweetly while the bigger egos held court. Kevin and John Toshak up front. Everyone called them the perfect partnership. But at home Kevin would come in bruised black and blue from taking the knocks so Tosh could finish. He never complained. Not once. That's the man I married. The worker, not the show pony everyone sees. Hamburg was the hardest 3 years of my life. He announced he was leaving Liverpool the day after winning the European Cup in Rome. Just like that. Zhong, love, I've got to test myself abroad. Test himself. I was 6 months pregnant with Laura, and he told me we were moving to Germany. I didn't speak a word of German. The press called him a traitor for leaving Liverpool at their peak. I called him worse in private. But off we went. I learned to cook sauerkraut, learned to smile for the German photographers who followed us everywhere, learned to pretend I was delighted when grown men started wearing Kev perm wigs 2 matches. But I watched something change in him there. He became untouchable. Bundesliga title in '79, Ballon d'Or twice, the only English player to win it back-to-back, European Cup final in 1980. I was in the stands in Madrid when Nottingham Forest beat them. He was devastated. Came into the hotel room, 4 a.m., still in his kit, and cried like a baby in my arms. I should have stayed at Liverpool, he kept saying. That was the only time I ever heard him regret anything. When he came home to Newcastle in 1992, I thought, finally, he'll manage, we'll settle. It'll be calm, with Kevin. He took a team 2 points from the 3rd division and turned them into the entertainers. I watched grown men weep in the streets when we went 12 points clear in 96, and I was the one who had to pick up the pieces when it all fell apart. He couldn't sleep 4 weeks after Leeds and Manchester United chased us down. He lost weight, lost his sparkle. That I would love it interview. Everyone thinks it was passion. I know it was a man breaking on live television. I was watching at home with the kids and I remember whispering, "Oh Kevin, don't do this to yourself." Even managing England nearly finished him. He resigned in the Wembley toilets after losing to Germany. In the bloody toilets. I got the call and drove straight there. Found him sitting on the floor in his suit, looking about 90 years old. "I can't do this anymore, Jong." That was the closest I've ever seen him to giving up entirely. And now this small-minded, dinosaur nonsense about women pundits. He rang me from Bristol beforehand, all excited about the speaking gig. Just a few stories, love, bit of fun, a bit of fun. He comes home and the papers are calling him a sexist relic. My phone hasn't stopped. Old friends, journalists, even our granddaughter asking if Grandad's lost his mind. I sat him down last night. No shouting. I'm too tired for shouting anymore. "Kevin," I said, "you won the Ballon d'Or when I was changing nappies in a foreign country. You built Newcastle teams that played the most beautiful football I've ever seen. You made millions of people happy. And now you want to be remembered as the bloke who can't handle hearing a woman talk about Harry Kane." He kept saying it's just my opinion, and I'm from a different generation, as if I wasn't there for every single second of it, as if I haven't watched women's football grow from nothing to sold-out stadiums. Our granddaughter plays, for God's sake. She's 12 and better than he was at that age. The truth he won't admit, and the truth I'm tired of protecting him from, is that he's terrified of becoming irrelevant. All his life he's been the little guy who proved everyone wrong. Now the game's passed him by in ways he can't control, and instead of grace he lashes out. Same as when he left Liverpool, same as the Newcastle meltdown, same as resigning from England. When Kevin feels small, he makes sure everyone else feels smaller. I've told him, apologize properly, or don't bother coming on our anniversary holiday next month. 51 years, I've stood by him. I'm not doing 52 with a man who embarrasses his wife, his daughters, his granddaughters. People will say I'm betraying him by speaking out. Good, let them. I've spent a lifetime smiling, while he got to be the fiery one. Well, this is me being fiery. Kevin. If you're watching this somehow, yes, love, I'm talking to you. You are the best footballer I ever saw. You are the father of our beautiful children. You are the man who still holds my hand in the cinema. But you are also a stubborn, frightened old man who just threw away half his legacy for a cheap laugh in Bristol. Fix it. Or for the first time in 51 years. You might find the house a bit quiet when you get home, because I'm done making excuses for you.